Hello, everyday leaders. I am Melanie Ake, and I am so proud to come to you today from the Everyday Leaders 50 and 50 podcast studio. It is Saturday, and it feels like it's December already. We've been in quarantine for 4 weeks, and it's only April. Tomorrow's Easter, and so here we are, and I'm trying to think of creative ways to connect to people. And so I've been literally, since I got up, on the phone. Bible study from 7:30 to 8. Then I did an activity that is going to post next week with the Lion's Den. And we were on a Zoom conference for almost an hour and a half, almost 2 hours, and went right into recording a couple of podcasts today with some amazing people. And then now I've been scheduled these personal growth lives and to bring value to you for people that have been on my podcast, but have also become a really great part of my life and my own personal growth. And so, Jeermal Sylvester, Mr. Me Too, man, our journey has only been over a little over a year. And this is amazing to watch you and how we connected through Chip Baker.
Right.
Just crazy, right? A
Yeah.
connection when you say
Houston,
yes.
Texas.
Right, when you
How,
say
how does
yes.
somebody from Houston, Texas connect two people in Indianapolis, right?
And
Really?
it happened.
Right.
And it happened. And it's so crazy because I went to Ball State.
Right.
You went to Ball State.
Yeah.
We're a few years apart. I won't say who's older, but
COVID got me looking like I'm older.
but here's the crazy thing. We believe our paths are the same. And so we connected. And so last year, I was just going to tell people the background here. So we connected through Chip Baker, the Success Chronicles. Love this guy.
Right.
And he says, you and Jamal need to connect. So we talked for what, 2 hours the first time?
There we go.
I
Yeah.
think it was
Two
probably
hours.
2 hours. And I
Supposed
said,
it was supposed to be. It was scheduled 15 minutes. That's what I'll say. It was scheduled 15 minutes.
it was scheduled. So then I said, you got to come on my podcast and share your story. And hey, Chip, hey. And we were just talking about you. And then you said, hey, I want to come to your leadership summit, the first leadership summit.
Yeah.
And you brought a couple friends. And we started, after the summit, we started this personal growth journey. And my book, my favorite leadership book, is right here.
The real deal.
It's the real deal, right?
Yeah.
And I gave these away at the summit. You guys all won these, and we started a journey going through this book every week. And part of my growth has been to teach this to different groups every single week since March 2017. So you got to be a part of my growth, and I so appreciate you because I saw everybody transforms, and every time you read this material, you read it differently, you see it differently.
Absolutely.
And so I'm so glad to have you on here today, Jamal, because your story is powerful, and I'm watching you, and you're changing, and you're going to inspire so many people today. So
Appreciate you. Thank you. Thank you so much.
you're doing some great things. I want people to, if they haven't listened to the podcast, if they don't know who Jeermal Sylvester is, give us some background and tell us the back end of your story.
Whew. Well, it's a long story, but I'm gonna give you the mini version. Jamal, Mr. Me Too Sylvester, born and raised in Chicago, Illinois, transplanted to South Bend, Indiana, and that's kind of really when uh, Mr. Me Too really started to gain some momentum, and I started to begin to find out uh, what some of my giftings were. Played basketball. I was Indiana All-Star in 1990, which is one of the most prestigious basketball teams or honors you can have in the state of Indiana as a high school basketball player. That afforded me the opportunity to get a full ride scholarship in college. Went on to Ball State University. Had a pretty decent career, but I had some trials and tribulations while in college because I was still trying to figure it out. And through those stumbles, I've learned some things. I learned a lot about who I was and how I handled situations. As an athlete, we embrace pressure situations, But a lot of times those things didn't always cross over or carry over into life. And when you're young and you don't know what to do or how to do something, uh, life can be scary and life can force you to cower or run. And so I did some things that weren't uh, positive or weren't good, and it caused me to run. And that running, I ran uh, into somebody that, and he was the only person that could help my situation, and I ran into me. And so I had to deal with that, and I began to grow and learn. And I think my biggest asset is I'm very resilient. I like to say that in resiliency, the definition used to be that it's the ability to bounce back. But for me, it's been the ability to bounce forward. And I think that's the true definition of being resilient. It's being able to go through something and then taking whatever that situation or whatever that stumble or whatever that fall was, and then learning from it, and then it allowing you to propel yourself to the next level of whatever phase you're in your life. And so, in a nutshell, that's what I've been able to do. I never envisioned myself being a speaker. I thought I was going to play basketball my whole life. And once again, I had to learn how to overcome, and I broke my kneecap after signing a contract for $100,000 to go play basketball overseas. And my basketball career, as I knew it, was over. And so when you put so much time and effort into a thing, it's easy to give up and it's easy to quit. And so at that point in my life, man, I became very depressed. I began to dabble into drugs and alcohol, very heavy, because I just wanted to drink and smoke the pain away, because I had put so much of my life and my energy and time into the basketball basket. And when it didn't happen, I didn't know what to do. And so I struggled, but I was able to come up out of that pit, and I was able to find myself, and connect with myself on another level, but then surround myself with people and mentors and father figures who could help me navigate through this thing called life. And here I am. So that's who Mr. Me Too is, in a snippet version. There's more to that. I'm sure that you guys can tell just by some of the pieces of the story that I told. But in a nutshell, that's who I am, and what has allowed me to become who I am, and connected me and allowed me to see the importance of having people like yourself in my life, and not using but utilizing those relationships.
Mm-hmm. It's so important that we help each other. Growth, I've got here on the screen, just life circumstances, like you said, can force you to run away from yourself. And I think people may say, well, no, it's circumstances. I can't control those things. I can't control the circumstances. And I know you maybe felt that way at some point, but now you've realized, right? Tell me about that growth journey for you in deciding that you do have the choice.
Man, it's no fun being in a body that you're physically able to do whatever you want to do, but to be paralyzed in your mind and not do anything. And so it was just, regaining my life back and taking back my power, and embracing the fact that while I can't control everything, I can't control the controllables. And those are things like your attitude, your effort, just having a grateful attitude, and, just understanding that in life, you're going to run into some walls, but it doesn't mean that wall can stop you. It's, now it's okay. Let me look at this wall and let me see, what am I supposed to get from this wall? Am I supposed to run through this wall? Am I supposed to go over this wall, or am I supposed to go around this wall? And it's being able to take the time to kind of dissect and be detailed about the wall, and understanding what that wall is and why that wall is there. Walls are put in your life to see how bad you want something. And so a lot of times we say we want things, and then our Father will say, okay, I'm going to see how bad you want it. And then he'll throw a wall in front of you. And then it's a test, and no test, no testimony. And so the different walls that have been placed in my life have allowed me, no matter what avenue I had to take, whether I was supposed to run through it, whether it was supposed to go around it, whether I was supposed to go over it, whatever steps that I needed to take to, to overcome that wall, I learned a great deal of information that allowed me, once I got over the wall or through the wall or around the wall, I didn't have to worry about that wall again. Now, I got other walls that were presented to me, but I didn't have to worry about that wall. And a lot of us are continuing to run into the same wall. And it's because we're either doing one or two things. We're either choosing not to figure out what that wall is meant for and going through or going over or going around, or we're just deciding to run away from that wall and do nothing. And neither one of those things are good. So
It's not, but sometimes we don't realize it. We say, oh, it's everybody else. It's not me.
yeah.
It's everybody else. Why can't they see, right? Why can't they see I'm not doing anything wrong? Why can't I get support? Why can't somebody just give me a break?
One of the laws in the 15 laws of
Oh,
invaluable
bring
growth,
it.
the
Come
law,
on.
law of
Bring
the
it. I'm
mirror.
ready.
Yes, the law of the mirror. And so you have to look in the mirror. Like the mirror, I have some friends and I have some family members who have, in the hood, we have a thing that we say we like to keep it 100. And so that's like, we like to keep it real. But the realest thing that I've ever had an encounter with was the mirror. And the mirror doesn't say anything as far as words, but it says everything. And so when you look in that mirror is going to tell you exactly what it is, who you are. It's going to tell you if you got a zit on your face. It's going to tell you if one of your ears higher than the other. It's going to keep it 100 with you. And so it's just being able to look into the mirror and accept what the mirror is showing. And if I didn't like what I saw in the mirror, then I have the power and I have the ability to do something about that. And as I began to, look at myself and be open and honest with myself, I began to work on those things that the mirror showed me. Because a lot of times we see ourselves in the light that we want to see ourselves, and we're not often honest with ourselves. But the mirror forced me to kind of look past what I thought I was seeing or the lie that I was telling myself. And the mirror made me look at the truth. And I'm thankful for having a mirror and being able to look in the mirror and accepting what the mirror told me, because that's allowed me to get where I am today.
And you don't really, hey, hello, good morning, Facebook user. I'm not sure who that is. Somebody just said good morning and happy Easter weekend, Jeermal. Maybe somebody in Europe, right?
Yeah, hey.
So chapter 3, right? I love this chapter, and people that know me will say, you love every chapter.
Right. And you do.
True.
Yeah,
It's true. Because you live your life by these. They do absolutely change your life. And what I realized in even just learning it every single week and going back over this lesson is that we don't realize how we show up, and how we show up to others is our character. And what we believe about ourselves is how we represent ourselves. So, like you just said, if we look in the mirror and we don't believe that we can accomplish something, or that we should be accepted by a certain group that we're getting ready to go into, or have a meeting, or get on a virtual call now, right? Well, I don't know why I was invited to this virtual call. I really don't belong, right? If you believe that, you show up with that attitude, and people feel that.
Right.
And so, but what you have to do, and so I want to know the process for you, kind of going from, your story is being at Ball State, taking all this time to go back and get your degree, and saying that you deserve to have the things that you deserve in your life.
And that was tough, because even that, I've done a lot of crazy stuff in my life, a lot of good, but I've had some bad. And so that journey at Ball State, I am a former 3-time college dropout. And so I got into some trouble, as I shared, earlier, about my journey at Ball State. I only played one full season in my 4 years at Ball State. I found a way to get kicked off the team my freshman year, my sophomore year. I kind of figured things out my junior year, and it was a great year. And then what should have been the best year of my life, my senior year, turned out to be a pretty rough year. I made two mistakes. I punched my teammate and was kicked off the team. I was allowed back on the team, and less than 60 days later, I punched a student on campus in open gym. And so that's two bad decisions in less than 60 days. And they ultimately changed my life and changed the trajectory that God had intended for me in 1994 at that time. And it caused me to run. And I left school not completing my degree. I believe at that time, I was 24 hours, anywhere from 17 to 24 hours from completing my degree. And so I left and I didn't finish the job. And anybody that knows me knows that I don't like not finishing the job. And while it ate away at me, life happened, and then kids happened. And so I had to decide school, kids, job. And I put job, kids before school. And while I didn't forget about my education, I knew that those things were what I needed to do right now. And so I went back in 2005. Life happened. I took a couple of classes, did really good in those classes. I dropped out again. Went back in 2011. Doing good. Life happens again. I drop out again, only to go through my career trajectory and work in different environments where I had positions that I would apply for, and to be told that you're not qualified. And I'm like, wait a minute. I read what the job description was. I seen what the responsibilities and duties were. I can do that, and I can do that very well. Where it wasn't so much about the duties and the responsibilities, it was about this piece of paper, which was my college degree. And because I didn't have it, I was forced, and it hurt. It was probably one of the most hurtful things that I've had to do, was to be told that I'm not qualified for a job, but then they would hire a fresh new graduate out of college into this position and then tell me to train them. Like, it was the ultimate kick in the face. And so that happened to me on two occasions. And the pain that I felt, it gave me the energy, and it gave me the focus or the determination to take my butt back to school. And it wasn't until I moved to Indianapolis, and on my way going to my job, I rode past the NCAA building every day. And they have a NCAA Division I degree completion program for any Division I athlete who's exhausted their eligibility and who are, I believe it's 30 hours. Don't quote me on that. If you go to their website and look it up, you'll be able to find it. But if you're close to graduating, the NCAA will ask you to tell a story about what you've been doing since you exhausted your eligibility, and kind of tell your story and what you've been doing as far as work and life, and then how not having your degree has affected you. And so I was able to clearly and effectively share that story with them. And I won the scholarship, and they paid for me to go back to Ball State. I re-enrolled in December of 2017, and I did it. I went through, I took my two classes and my writing proficiency exam, and I had a 4.0 GPA both semesters. I made the dean's list. I passed the writing proficiency exam with flying colors, and I graduated from Ball State University July 21st, 2018. And so it was a long journey, but it was well worth it, because the last year of that journey and the 24-year journey, the things that I didn't do the previous 3 times that I dropped out, I learned from those encounters, and I was able to utilize all of the resources that Ball State provided that were free to any student that was enrolled, that I never took advantage of the first 3 times. I took advantage of my resources of the people who I had in my network that were around me, which made it so much easier. Was I any smarter? Maybe a tad bit because of my lived experiences, but I think it was more about the wisdom that I gained over all of my trials and tribulations over that 24-year span, that I was able to truly take advantage of that situation. And I wanted to do two things. I wanted to show the people who from the NCAA and the people who are in my ecosystem and circle, who helped me, who championed me to go back to school. I wanted to show them that I appreciated that. And so that's why I went so hard, and I strived to get a 4.0. But then I wanted to show my son that you could work a full-time job, and you could be a student, and you could still mentor and be a motivational speaker and teach workshops and do all of these things that I do, and still strive for excellence in the classroom. I didn't get extra time added to my life clock. Like, God didn't give me an extra 4 hours. My job didn't say, you know what, Jeermal, because we're so proud of you and we want you, to go back to school and we're happy for you, we're going to let you have off from work. I still had an expectation. And so I had to still show up and be excellent at work. And then when I took my work hat off, I put my education hat on. I still had to do the same thing educationally. And it taught me a lot about myself. It taught me that there is more in the tank. A lot of times we feel like that we get to a certain phase or we get to a certain state and we feel like that's it. Until you put yourself in situations, stressful situations or stretchful situations where they'll force you to stretch, you'll never know what's in there. And so I'm thankful that I went through that process because it taught me a lot about me. And so I'm ready, and I've been ready. I embrace those challenges now. And so I embrace COVID-19. You know what? I'm going to come out better than what I was when I went into it. I promise you that.
Tell me about COVID-19, because I saw on Instagram that you were with the other night with remind me who you were with. I am Pop.
I am Pop.
Yes.
I am Pop on Instagram.
Yes.
So let me grab it. COVID is COVID, and it stands for a clear opportunity to visualize in detail your dreams. And I was even able to find something that was very significant with the number 19. And in the Bible, the number 19 represents faith. And it blew my mind because as we're going through these traumatic events with COVID-19, like it's had a negative connotation. And so God dropped it in my spirit for me to, try to help empower and inspire people to know that while that's what they're saying it is, it's going to be what I say. And so I was able to flip it. And I think I was able to add value to a lot of people because even the numbers 1 and 9 have significant meanings in ancient times and the things that they were represented. And together they represent being able to complete a task and having faith and being able to complete a task. And it blew my mind when I went to go doing the research on it. And I'm like, wow, God, did you just give me this? And so I'm thankful that I took it and I was able to do what I'm sure he wanted me to do with it. And so COVID, COVID, clear opportunity to visualize and detail your dreams. And so in this isolation time, it's elevation time. And so you need to go back and you need to dust off those dreams or those talents and gifts that you used to do that life has somehow beaten out of you, or the job that you're currently working is requiring you to work a lot of hours. And so you haven't been able to take that class or finish that class or work on whatever that gift was. It's time to go back and dust that stuff off, because what COVID-19 has given us, it's given us our time back. And that's something that, in my 47 years, I've never been able to recover time. And COVID-19 has been allowing me to recover time in a crazy way while we've been going stir crazy and just like, man, it's horrible being stuck at home. It's like, wait a minute, I got time to work on that course now. I got time to, work on my craft and do individual videos and do sessions like this. And so I'm actually getting time to work on things that I literally just 4 weeks ago didn't have time to do. And so COVID-19 has been a blessing for me. Mm-hmm. And that's not to disregard, the way that it's affected our country or affected families, and the fact of health and how people have lost their lives. I'm not discrediting it in any way, but it's been a blessing because it's allowed me to kind of get back in touch with the Creator in me and allow me to be creative in a greater way.
Hmm. Well, it's so important that people can hear your message now. And I think what's neat is you have been blasting all around Indiana to colleges to teach youth the values that you've learned, the lessons of don't give up, respect where you are, learn lessons now, and really understand every decision that you make, the choices that you make affect the rest of your life. And so I'm going to put on here, you're a speaker, you're a trainer, you're a coach. You're going through the program to become certified through John Maxwell now.
Absolutely. And I'm
And
so excited about that.
what a choice, right? What a choice to say there's over 35,000 members that are adding value and investing in their own personal growth at such a huge capacity to say, now I want to be connected to all of these resources that I can elevate the level of my game. And I can see the vision. I can clearly see, when you say clear opportunity to visualize in detail your dreams, that came to you because you're doing activities right now to connect you to resources, talking to people on interviews, virtually connecting. This just opens your mind to think of, what am I struggling with? What's the pain that I feel? That many other people, everybody in the world is going through this, Jeermal.
Yeah, I know.
But you're communicating this and how you feel about it. That's the glory, right? Because you can now communicate that and connect to people in a way to say, me too. I feel that, me too. And I want to be on a growth journey versus, a personal destruction. I want to grow and I want to change and I want to add value. And so I celebrate you today because this has been amazing to just watch you decide that you have more capacity and you want to add value, you want to show up bigger, and you want to be connected to things that can help you elevate your game.
Absolutely. And that's where the Mr. Me Too name came from. And I've worked in corrections, I've worked in nonprofit, I've worked in youth serving organizations. I've always been a human services worker. And I would always find myself in conversations with the people that I would work with or would be serving, and they would be telling me their story. And, I would be like, man, guess what? Me too. And so I put the Mr. on it because I'm 47. And so I've been through a whole lot of go-throughs. And so you're going to respect my go-through. And so I put the Mr. on the Me Too. But while I can empathize with people's go-through, I can't let you off the hook. And I think that's where people get in trouble. And I think that as coaches, as teachers, as leaders, as parents, we let the people who we are called to serve down when we over empathize and we don't force them or we don't challenge them to be the best versions of themselves. And we're like, oh, poor Mel or poor Maul or poor Chip. No, bump all of that. I get it. But okay, now what? We got to figure this thing out because the only way that's going to change, nothing changes if nothing changes. And the only way that's going to change is if you change it. Mm-hmm. And so I have to challenge you and I have to, like I said, I'm going to empathize with it. I get it. I know what it feel like not to have your father. I know what it feel like to grow up in a drug-infested, gang-infested neighborhood. I know all of that. I'm not discrediting or disregarding any of that. But so what? Let's go. Let's get it. Because I know what you said you wanted. And if you really want it, then I'm going to do everything in my power to help you get there. And it's not going to always be fun. Some of those sessions are going to be nice and we're going to get to laugh and joke. But most of those sessions, I'm going to be on your head and I'm going to be challenging you and I'm going to be forcing you. Even when you don't want to, I'm going to force you into being the better version of yourself until you can see it and want to be it as much as I want it for you.
I think what you said is so important because when you start to become, and you start investing in yourself, you see this whole clear path that you want everybody else to experience. You just get so excited for the possibilities that everybody can have this. This is free.
It is.
And it's our choice. And so what you say comes from your heart, and it is so powerful because today Like if you're sitting there thinking, yeah, I'm connecting virtually, but I'm just not feeling it, Jamal. I'm just not feeling it. Your story is different than mine. You have more courage. You have more belief in yourself. I can't do what you do. You have skills. You were a basketball player. You gained confidence. But those knockdowns that you had,
Right.
that pressure that you felt that you had to perform and raise a family and, and still try to go back to school and just continue to fail. I want you to talk about failing forward, the fear of failing.
It's I think it's probably one of the most powerful uh, things in the world. It's that fear of the unknown, but then also when you have a group of people who depend on you or who are counting on you, it's not so much that I don't want to fail; it's I don't want to let them down,
Mm-hmm.
and that can be detrimental to your success. And so, man, for me, I think that basketball helped me because I didn't always make the shot. I didn't always make the right pass. I've turned the ball over at crunch time, but and so I learned how to move my butt out of the way, BUT, and because of the practice. Practice. My mentor used to always tell me, practice time is not wasted time. And so I've always been in preparation mode. And my mantra is, if you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. And because I have this confidence, but I only gain this confidence because of the practice. It's not easy to come into a game fresh, no sweat, no warm up, and be asked to take the 3-point shot with 3 seconds to go and we're down 2. It's not easy to do that. But if you've practiced, it doesn't matter. I've prepared myself for this situation. And I still may miss, but I'm going to shoot that shot with great confidence, knowing that I put 10,000 shots up, or I put up 1,000 shots a day, or I put up 500 shots a day. I know I put my work in. And while I may miss this shot, I promise you I won't miss all of them because I got confidence and I put the work in. So, preparation time is not wasted time. And so you have to prepare yourself for these tough times and these difficult situations. And the only way to get through your go through is to go through it and understand. I Am Pop had a post on IG the other day. He talked about the other side. Everything that you want in life, no matter what it is, it's on the other side. Or whatever it is, it's on the other side. If you wanted to go to the store and it was across the street and your cupboards were bare, it's a traffic, it's semis, it's motorcycles, it's everything going up and down. You still got to go across the street, no matter how scary that is. You got to get to the other side. And so we got to stop being scared. We know that there's going to be a lot of fast cars. There's going to be cars bigger than ours. There's going to be cars that look better than ours. We might not even have a car. You might have to walk to the other side. You have to be okay with that, because for me, it's when I found out my why. My why is greater than my why not. And so my why is on the other side. And so it doesn't matter what it looked like. My why is going to always be greater than my why not. And so I'm going to go to the other side. And I know that when I get there, what I was looking for is going to be waiting for me.
That is so important. I just put this here. So, capturing what you just said, practice your skills, be ready to take the 3-point shot. Preparation time is critical during these times. And whatever you want is on the other side, as I Am Pop said. And I was typing so fast, I wanted to capture it. And another friend, Chip, right? He always says, go get it. So go to the other side, go get it. It is yours to take. You just have to decide that you want it.
And that's it. And I know life can make you not want some things. And I think the scary part is, it's not that you don't want it, it's because you know how much work. And that's a cuss word for a lot of people. WORK. It's a cuss word to a lot of people. And so you know the work that you're going to have to put in to get to the other side. And some people will be like, man, I thought I wanted it. I don't really want that because I don't want to do the work. And so for me, I'm thankful that I am an athlete and I know how to work. I know how to get up early. I know how how to run suicides, and I know how to, even when I feel like I can't run no more, and my coach said, you know what, on the line, y'all got one more. I have a one more attitude. And so I'm thankful for the things that I've learned through sports, and I've been able to transfer them into my life, and they've helped me. But for those of you who were good at playing an instrument or knitting or whatever it is that you were good at as a child or as a young adult, man, you practice. You didn't get good at that just right away. You had to work at it. So don't forget those things and put yourself in remembrance of those things, and then hold on to what you learned and those valuable skills that you learned. And the number one thing was that, man, you practice day after day after day after day after day after day until you got it. You didn't like the feeling of not being good at something. Mm-hmm. And that forced you to want to work harder so that you could get good at it, because you didn't like that feeling. And so don't get comfortable where you are in your life. Let that uncomfortable feeling or that yucky feeling in your stomach, let that motivate you to do what you need to do to get to the other side.
Gotta see it. Gotta see it. Oh man, power, 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 Jeermal. You're amazing. You are just, I just love you so much because your heart is so big and you see your life in such a big capacity to give. And I want to put up.
Sometimes it scares me.
Yeah, it's scary. It is. Because, when you start to discover your why, and this is what you said, the why not. Ask yourself why not. But for you, it's kind of like you wake up in the middle of the night now and you say, here's my dream. What can I do tomorrow? Right? And you just start waking up with these ideas that who do I need to connect to? What are the resources that I need to learn tomorrow? Where do I need to go? Virtual world, are there groups that people are joining to say, I want to learn about this?
Right.
And so that's really critical. And I'm going to put something up here. Let me see. I typed it in and I don't think I showed it yet. But let me see here. Sorry. I was going to just pop this up here. Covet. Oh, okay. So I wanted people to know what you do. So you're a keynote speaker. You're a trainer. You're a coach. You focus on youth. You really add value right now. I've seen you show up in a big way to these college athletic programs, to giving kids the opportunity to think through the values if they make the right choices. And I really want to encourage people, to get on your campaign and get involved with you and your story so that you can share these ideas and you can really help inspire, these youth right at the time when they need it the most, where they think they own the world. Right now, all these seniors are thinking, okay, I can't experience my senior year how I expected it. Right. And so they're not feeling maybe so confident, or they're feeling a little lost. But going off to college, if they still decide to do that, and we don't know what's going to happen next, right? But it's going to be different for them. And I think your message is step into that first day. Step into it, own it, control it, decide how you want to show up the right way, and do everything you can to use those resources that you don't know about until you're backed against the wall.
And I think one thing that I share, and a lot of why I wanted to do the COVID-19 IG Live with Iron Pop, it had a lot to do with my high school seniors and my high school college students. Not my high school college students, but the college students and the high school students that were seniors, because I empathize with them. I remember, like, it forced me to go back. I remember, like, what it felt like when I walked across the stage in Ball State. Now, you would think after 24 years, man, that don't got no meaning. But I was walking on, I didn't walk, I was gliding. I was on cloud nine, like, they just called my name. And so, and then not only what I felt, but what my family got to experience, because they know the trials and the tribulations and what they had to sacrifice that allowed me to be able to do it. And so all of those things are being stripped, not just from the students, but from their families. And so I wanted to do something to encourage them, to let them know that while you're not going to be able to experience that, don't let that stop you from preparing yourself for your next. Because now in COVID-19 time, we have isolation time. And so we have time to think and contemplate and dig a little deeper and get into the details. But now you can prepare yourself, because the reality is 1 in 4 freshmen return back home when they go to college. And that number may have changed in the last couple of years, but I'm sure that it's still kind of close to that. Why? Because they didn't prepare themselves to be freshmen. I struggled at Ball State because when I left high school, I went to Ball State with the mindset of a senior in high school when I was a freshman in college, and it didn't work. And so I struggled. So you need to be preparing yourself in this time, while you have time, to be a freshman in college. Get yourself ready for it, because you know that's where you're going. Don't wait to be a freshman and then say, okay, now I need to get ready to be a freshman. You already know you're going to be a freshman. So get prepared now. And that's probably the greatest thing that I've learned since life after basketball was always prepare yourself for where you're going. Don't wait to get there and then prepare. And it's been helping me. And so I get ready I know that God is going to provide me with opportunities to speak and do these virtual events. So I'm just getting ready by practicing and, allowing myself to be heard on platforms such as yours, because I know that it's just a matter of time before it happens. And so I don't want to get there and then somebody reach out to me and say, hey, can you do this? And then I don't have a Zoom account, or I don't have the things in place. I don't have a laptop. I don't have my headphones, or I don't have the right things in place to be able to take advantage of the opportunity. I know what it feels like to miss out on opportunities. I lost out on $80,000 one time in my overseas experience. I had a team in Turkey who called, who wanted me to come. And I'm like, oh man, let's get it. I'm ready to go right now. They said, do you have a passport? I'm like, passport? What's that? Didn't hear from them. I needed to be ready right then and there. I didn't know that you needed a passport. All I knew was to train, be the best at what I was doing. I didn't have nobody who went before me, and so I didn't know. And so I was naive, and I missed out on a great opportunity. And it prolonged. It took more months before I was able to get another job. But that taught me, it was probably the most valuable lesson that I've ever learned. And I'm talking about valuable in numbers. $80,000. I missed out on the opportunity just because I wasn't ready. And so prepare yourself for your next. You're going to be a freshman, or you're going to go into a new job. For my people who've lost their job, and you got to take a career change. But hey, start preparing for that new opportunity so that when you get it, you will be ready. You don't want to say, hold on, or let me figure something out. You want to be ready. Start preparing yourself for what you want.
Absolutely. That's so powerful. And we forget. We need to be reminded, Jeermal. We need to be reminded. Oh my goodness. All right, I'm gonna put this on here. Oh, let me see if it typed on here. Yes. Because I wanted this to be a banner across here in everything that we're learning, because this is what you teach the kids.
Absolutely.
This is what they need to walk away with and think about. If you've got a senior in your house and you're watching this, please go back and replay this and have them just really make a list, get out a piece of paper, and have them write down the things that they need to prepare for. If they were in school today, if it was their senior year, I would say what I've learned is use the resources at the school. Like, start researching online. What does the school provide to me? And what am I really interested in? And what are the groups that are going to be available that I can connect to? All of those resources. And lay that plan out now. It's early, it's April. But you're right. If people start believing that they're going to be connected to things that are going to really help them in their journey, that can get them way ahead in planning and feel like they have a part, and they can go and lead a part of the university once they get there, and not feel afraid, right? That freshmen got to fit in, got to do this, but you're really going to take control over how you're going to learn and the resources that are going to be there available to you. I love that.
Because the reality is we can't control this. We can't control when they're going to let us back into schools, when they're going to let us back into our job. Why would I spend the majority of this day that God has blessed me with to be living and breathing and functioning? Why would I waste the word about something I can't control? I can't go walk to my job and, be like, yo, I need y'all to open this joint up because I want to be at work because I'm tired of being at home. no different than my high school seniors and my college students. You guys can't have the universities open up the schools. And so if we embrace that, and I'm not saying that you got to like it, please don't hear that. I'm saying you can be frustrated, you can be angry, you can be, disappointed, all of those emotions that come with that. It's okay. But okay, now that you got over the emotional piece of it, now what do I do with this? Because you have something else that you have to do. And so you need to start preparing to do that. Because I promise you, this time is going to go by so fast. And before we know it, it's going to be August. And you're going to be like, oh my, what did I do at the time? And I'm not ready. I didn't write out my list. I didn't do all of the things that I would have typically done because I was in school in a structured environment. Don't forget those things that you trained yourself to do over the last 3.5, 3 3/4 years as far as being in a school structure. Don't forget all of those things. I still get up in the morning as if I'm going to work. I have to because I'm conditioned. I've conditioned myself to do that for a long time. And so it's just in my psyche now that I don't feel right just laying in the bed chilling. Like I tried to work a couple of days with my laptop and sitting in the bed, and it was horrible because I was taking naps. And I'm like, you know what? You got to get up out the bed, Joe. So I got me a chair and I put my chair off the bed and I stacked my computer on some shoe boxes. And so now I got my space, but I'm making it work because I have to try to keep as much normalcy in this uncomfortable situation as I can. And so I get dressed. I may not put on a shirt and tie and my hard shoes, but I still get up and I put some clothes on. Like you have to still do the things that you've been doing so that, if nothing else, that's helping me mentally and it's keeping me sane because just sitting at the crib and just being in your PJs and flicking through cable and Netflix and man, look, that get old real quick. Mm-hmm. So I'm not going to waste time because I know that that's one thing that, we're not always granted with. And in this time, he's given us something back that typically you can never get back. And so I'm going to take full advantage of it. And I want to, when I come on the other side of this, I want him to look down at me and be like, job well done, servant. Because I multiplied what he gave me. And so he giving me this time back, I'm going to multiply it. I'm going to do more with what he's giving me so that when I get up, look, somebody in trouble. That's all I'm going to say. When COVID-19 and it clear up and the world in trouble because I'm coming.
I'm coming. Listen, Jeermal, I want to thank you so much for coming and just joining us today. I know it's the middle of the afternoon. It's beautiful. It's Easter weekend. We could all be outside at least enjoying some weather. But you've taken the opportunity to just, again, grow and share with us. And so I want to encourage people, if you're looking even for a virtual inspirational speaker that can speak to some of the kids before they go off to college, do not hesitate to get a hold of Jeermal. And because he is powerful, he connects and gives people a reason to believe in themselves as they're going through a really scary, difficult time doing something that, your parents give you some advice, but it's always that other person that you believed in that said, hey, but you're the one that gave me the confidence. You said something to me that I really identified with, and I knew that it wasn't going to be as scary. So I really appreciate you, Jeermal.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate you for giving me this opportunity because what I would have been doing was I would have been in my, you gave me this.
There you go.
I'm creating curriculum. I'm creating content. Me and Chip been working on stuff. So it's been phenomenal. So in this COVID-19 thing, I've created a thing called the pit, and it's PITT. And when you think about a pit, like when you go into battle or you get knocked down in a pit, like what are you doing in your pit? And right now we're in a pit. And so you have to fight whatever your adversary is. And either your adversary gonna come up out of the pit or you are. And I say that in this season, I'm gonna defeat whatever it is that I'm going up against so that when I come out, and PIT stands for preparation, investment, training during tough times. And so I'm preparing myself by investing in myself, by taking classes, by reading books, by having phone conversations with people like Chip Baker, And then my two T's is during tough times. Like, you got to get ready because you're going to get into another pit. It's another virus, or it's another financial collapse, or it's going to be something. We know that in this wacky world that we live in, there's always going to be something lurking around the corner. And so prepare yourself while you're in your pit. And so I'm creating that content and getting that workshop and coaching sessions together. And so be on the lookout for that. Be on the lookout for the book.
Ooh, wait. Did you say book?
Yeah, book.
Okay, I've been holding you accountable to this. Tell me more. What's going on?
So I'm writing a whole lot more now. I stopped overthinking, and I'm just writing. And shout out to my brother Chip Baker. He hooked me on to a really cool app by Otter that any conversation that you have, it will transcribe it for you. Because I can talk all day long, as y'all can see, but writing, and I'm a creator, and so I can write something, and then I'll get another idea from a commercial, or God will drop something in my spirit, and it'll take me way over here. And not that writing is not important to me, but I'm like, no, he dropped this in my spirit, and this is important. And then I'll start writing on that, and I'll forget to write the book. And so I'm just using, the resources that are available to me that'll allow me to do what I know I need to do, and I need to get this book up out of me. And the book is called What Happens When the Dream Doesn't Come True, and it has a ... and then there'll be a space in between it, and you dream another dream. For my seniors, for the parents, for those who have lost their jobs. I know what you thought or what you dreamed it was going to be. It's not going to be that way. Don't let that dream not coming true paralyze you. Dream another dream. And so that's why you got to prepare for your new dream, and be on the lookout, because I promise you it's going to help whoever invests and buys the book. It's going to bless you. I promise you that.
So tell me again, it's what happens when the dream doesn't come true.
Yep. ...
Dream another dream.
Dream another dream.
Okay, I'm
supposed to have one dream.
Okay, so I'm typing this here. So I'm going to tell you, this is going to go across the banner here in a second.
Okay.
Now that you said it, we're going to publicly announce this book coming.
And I'm going to try to have it done by my birthday, which is June 15th.
This is your accountability, right?
Yes.
So as you say, what happens when the dream doesn't come true? Dream another dream.
Yep.
We're going to hold you accountable to this.
Please do.
Your birthday date is June
15th.
June 15th.
Yep.
All right. So we're going to check back with you on this, and we're going to come live and we're going to talk about it.
Check back June 1st, because I want to have it done June 1st so that I could get it out and get it published and all of that, so it'll be ready to go on June 15th.
Perfect. I love this. We're going to hold you accountable, because this is something that you really need to get out. And people will say, oh, you didn't need to write a book to be able to go out and speak. But what it does, it's that therapeutic process that when you write it down, you start to really understand. Your journey becomes so clear on who your audience is and how you can help them. So,
in the book, I don't, not that I need validation, but what I've learned from other speakers and people who are doing the things that I want to do on the level that I want to do it, it don't have to be a New York Times bestseller. They just say you just need to write your book. And for some reason, people take you a lot more serious when you have a book underneath your belt. And so if that's what it takes to validate, just like we're going back to school, I didn't personally feel like I needed a piece of paper to validate what I knew, because I lived through my experiences and I learned and I knew what I knew. But depending on the game that you're playing, you're going to have to play the game by their rules. And if it's having a book to play on the level, at the level that I want to play, then a book it is.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And it will help you understand your journey even more. It's just like journaling. You start to read it and then you start to understand, like, why did I write that? What was I thinking? Mm-hmm. And so it just gives you the perspective that you've talked about, the preparation, so that when you are speaking to these college students and these high school students and they ask those questions, you've already thought through it. You've already practiced what you're going to say. You already understand their perspective because you've been back through it again, writing about it. So.
When we did the Everyday Leaders and we met at, was it Carruthers? And so that night I was sharing that was my first time meeting Doc Doc Reed.
Oh my gosh.
And so me and him were talking at the end of the table, and I was sharing with him my story, and he was like, "Wow!" And he said, "Do you know the story about Joseph?" And I was like, "Actually, I really do. I actually was told that I was the Joseph of my family, and if I didn't get it, my family was counting on me." And so I read that story. I actually did like a full report to my spiritual father about it. It's like 2 or 3 pages that I really went in and I studied it. And he rocked my world. He told me that while he's a pretty well-established, well-versed speaker, well-known published author, he said that I could go to a university and I can get in front of these crowds and I could drop some and I could give them some. But he said, you're going to be so much more powerful because you can give them something that I can't. You got the keys because you've been where they're trying to go, or you've been through what they're going through. And so he told me that if anybody knows the story of Joseph is known for, he was dreaming vivid and wild dreams. But then Pharaoh brought him in because he went from dreaming to interpretation. His gift was the interpretation. And he told me that I've just transitioned from dreaming to interpretation. And I was like, wow. And so I think that that's what's going to allow me to take it to another level, because I have gone through some things and I've been able to overcome some things. And so I can interpret to a high school student, or I can interpret to a college student, or I can interpret to a returning back to school 40 or 50 or 60-year-old who scared of going back to the classroom. I can interpret what that's going to look like and help get them through that go through. So here we are.
Here we are. Here we are. It was amazing. Jeermal, as a speaker, when you spoke at the conference and you really inspired so many people, and it was such a pleasure to have you. Thinking about sitting in the audience the first year, my very first conference,
Right.
and I had announced the everydayleaders.com that we had just secured that the night before the conference the first year, which was, you think about, like, 1 year, right? 1 year changes your life. And now the second year, you're a speaker at the conference. You're up here learning and sharing and inspiring people, and it's just been such a journey to think about. Now when we have the third year conference, what we're going to be able to do together and design this workshop for the Everyday Leaders Conference for 2021. What that's going to look like on February the 27th, right? It's going to be right here in Indianapolis, and we're going to continue to build the community around the thought leaders and the things that we want to believe in the goodness that we want to create in the community for people to connect to.
Absolutely.
And I just think it's so important that we just continue on this campaign. People will say, you don't know who's watching. It's not about the likes that you get.
Right.
It's about what you're able to give to people. And I think our hearts are so big, and we want to be able to share this and share these values in this really difficult time. So you coming up with and thinking about ways to inspire people. The COVID isn't a bad thing when you think about how you're going to crystallize your dreams, right? I'm going to put that up here again so that people that are watching this on YouTube, or they're on silent and they're going, what did you just say?
Right.
So COVID, let me find it on the clip back here. It was way up here because we talked about that early.
Yeah.
Here we go. There we go. COVID, the clear opportunity to visualize in detail your dreams. Phenomenal, Jeermal.
Thank you.
Phenomenal.
Thank you. I'm humbled beyond words. I'm just so thankful and blessed, because growing up and going through the things that I went through, I'd never seen any of this. But I'm thankful. I'm thankful that he chose me, and I'm glad that I'm in the fight. And one of my coworkers used to always say, man, I fight the good fight. And so that's what I'm doing every day that I wake up. I'm fighting a good fight because I feel like it's a fight worth fighting. And that's what my people out there and the listeners out there, just know that whatever it is that you want on the other side, it's a fight worth fighting. And go get what you want.
That's right. Jeermal, thank you. Thanks for spending time today. I appreciate you. I will I will always celebrate you, and I want to keep up to date.
Okay.
Will you come back and join us and keep us up to date on what's going on with your book?
Absolutely. Let's do it June 1st so I can tell y'all that it's done.
Okay. You might come on before then, but definitely we're going to have you back on June 1st. So
Okay.
thank you, man. Have a great weekend. I appreciate you. Thanks for coming on today.
No problem. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.